everybody, this is the thejonnymar, and I am continuing with Final Fantasy III for the PSP. So my last episode, we left the floating continent, and we got to a brand new area of the game, and that is the surface world. We are currently at level 24 in preparation for the next dungeon. So what we have to do is we met a woman, or a girl, I guess. We don't know how old she is. She's been sleeping for a while. She's been sick. And it turns out that this entire world has been put into sort of a stasis, a freeze state. And so because of that, essentially there's very little of the world that is currently accessible. And this girl, Arya, wants us to stop that. She essentially wants us to overturn that. So she sends us to the Cave of Tides. So in the Cave of Tides, as you might expect, you're going to fight enemies, right? If they're weak to anything, they're weak to lightning. So just do your standard attacks, physical attacks, lightning staffs, so on and so forth. There is one particular enemy in here that is of note and is dangerous. And I will show that off if and when we encounter them. If we don't encounter them, I'll tell you anyway. But what we need to do is head through the first part of the cave here, the first room area, and we'll get to the door. So Arya mentions that the crystal of water has been sealed to prevent darkness, from taking it over. And she needs this crystal shard that we found in the Temple of Water, which we ended the last episode in order to access and revitalize that particular crystal. And thank you for the little prompt there, game, letting us know that that's what Arya is doing. If you didn't know, she's kneeling and she's praying. And that is going to open the door, because this is not an early 90s or late 80s translation of this game. This was done in the 2000s. So we can have religious sort of words and themes in this game. Unlike, early Nintendo games when they were translated in the United States, they got rid of any sort of religious sort of undertones to any of the messages. And things related to alcohol, of course, which is why you have cafes instead of pubs in the original translation for Final Fantasy VI. So the path is pretty straightforward at first. Not many branching paths. That'll change. So there are a couple dead-end spots that you can head down. The first is right here. So if you head to the south, that is a dead end. So we'll avoid it. And then there is one actual extra long path that leads to an item chest. Now, in the original, the Famicom version, there was no item chest. It was just a dead end. But in this game, as I've mentioned a few times previously, and the path we want to take us to the north here, they got rid of the Ice 3 spell from Geisel. You used to be able to access it there. And so because of that, essentially they were like, well, we need to find a way to get you that spell. So they added it to a chest here in the Cave of Tides. So there you go. Now we have Blizzaga or the Ice 3 spell. So that'll finish off our spell book for our Black Mage. So it's pretty powerful. Unfortunately, we don't have a ton of charges for it. And the enemies aren't weak to it, so it's not really going to show off its real power until a little bit later in the game. But that's pretty much it. Oh, Lord. Okay, so here's the enemy. Now, despite their appearance, and here's Arya jumping in to try to help us. So when Arya comes in to help the party, there it happened. So these are cockatrices. They will petrify your party members. No, they're not birds. So in all the other games, well, most of the other Final Fantasies, they look like birds, right? In this game, they decided to go more of the basilisk route, the lizard route, which is fine, I guess. But these guys are really annoying, as you might expect, because their physical attack can actually petrify you. So we want to make sure that we use golden needles to try to get rid of that status. We don't want that on our party members. We especially don't want it on 2 party members. So there's a good chance here one of my party members is actually going to fall behind, because when they're petrified, they do not gain experience or job experience. So if we can't have someone go and unpetrify Refia here before we kill it, then she's going to fall a little bit behind. Yeah, that's unfortunate. Oh well, it is what it is. I like her standing there like that in the stone state. But going back to the point I was making before we fought this horrible encounter, is that Arya will actually use 2 particular white magic spells. So at the beginning of battle, she will either cast Cura or she will cast Protect. So those are the 2 things. Not super helpful. She does tend to prioritize Protect, which is annoying because that means you essentially have to cure yourself and keep your party members going. Now, if she used Cura more often, she would probably be more useful, but she doesn't. She uses Protect most of the time, in my experience anyway. Another thing about Arya, I guess you might have noticed, and I didn't really touch on when we first met her, is that she has really long hair. So I guess she's been sleeping either for a really long time, or she's someone who just really likes to grow her hair out, because it is almost down to her feet. We're pretty much done with the Cave of Tides. This is the Crystal Room. So we're going to get ready here. We're going to prep things. You're going to notice that I'm going to change some of my equipment around. In the next battle, which is very difficult, we're actually going to equip the Heroic Shield on my knight here, on Ingus. And we're also going to equip the Flame Mail. And that is because, basically, he is not going to be attacking. He is going to be using the Cure spell. And the Flame Mail actually will protect him from ice magic, which the boss of this dungeon actually uses. So this is a very difficult encounter, especially if you're not at a good level. But we're going to walk forward here, and we're going to find the water crystal. So Arya, again, is going to kneel down. The game is going to let us know that she is praying. She's going to implore the water crystal to get back to its normal form and give us its power. And that works, because she's a priestess and she has power. So the crystal will regain its light. So that's nice. But apparently there's a second step. And the second step is that we have to do something. We have to merge our light somehow with the water crystal. And that's going to require us to step back, because apparently that is a big process. But that will start time again and free the world. So let's do that. Meryl, get down. Oh no. You should have listened to Snake, Meryl. I mean, Arya. Someone shot a cursed arrow, and it almost hit us. It was that thing. It was Kraken. Another lieutenant. Someone under Zandi. And we're not happy. We're gonna fight him. To avenge, or at least get him back for doing that. That was terrible. So, Kraken is terrible. Kraken is a terrible boss. Again, a step up. So, the reason why he's so bad is because his magic is just really powerful. So, his physical attacks are okay. They're not terrible. But if they critical, then they're really bad, because they can do 300 to 400 damage. So especially on mages, that can be very powerful. And that is the real danger, his Blizzard spell. So he uses Ice too, and that can do massive damage, especially if it's single targeted. So if he physical attacks one of your characters and then hits them with a single attack Blizzara, they're done. They're gonna drop, for the most part. So our goal here and our strategy is we're gonna use attack items with Lunith. We're going to use the Thunder 2 spell with our Black Mage. And then we're going to heal with our other 2 party members. So we're going to use Cura, and then we're going to use Cure. Now, the only reason I didn't change Ingus to a white mage spell, or a white mage class, is simply because I want him to get the experience towards knight. So, you really can, if you're super concerned about this, or if you're a lower level, and you have 2 Cura spells that you can equip on both of your white mages, then you certainly can change one of your other party members to a white mage as well. That would be safer. And as you notice, Kraken can also use blind. So he's a squid, I guess, so he can inflict the blind status. And he has on both of our attackers. Now, fortunately, I'm not using physical attacks with Lunith, so that's not really going to do much, because it doesn't affect attack items. But after the battle, we'll have to take off that status. So Kraken has, I think, roughly around 8,000 hit points or so. So it does take a little while to cut through all of that. And I'm not happy when my white mage decides to heal before Kraken goes. Now that's nice. Since we're not physical attacking here, the blind ability is essentially a wasted of... And then he turns around and uses a critical, of course. But it's a wasted turn on his part. So that generally reduces the damage. So I guess the game decided to compensate by having his physical attack critical. So we're going to use our Zeus's Wraths, continue to plug away at him, and continue to heal as necessary. It's essentially a battle of attrition. We will hopefully come out the other end okay. And then we'll have to find out what happened to Arya. So she got shot. It's much more clear in the Famicom version that she gets shot by an arrow. I guess they expect you to sort of infer that from the sound effect in this game. Ow. Ow. Okay, stop attacking. One character. Please spread your attacks out. I don't want someone to die in this battle because there is a lot of experience for killing this guy. Or fish, or squid, or whatever he is. So once we're done, once we beat Kraken, we'll have to see what happened with Arya, and then ultimately figure out what we're going to do after this point, because this was our immediate task. And down he goes! So Kraken has been defeated. Arya has been avenged, I guess. We get lots of experience, lots of gold, and job experience. So let's tend to Arya. Oh no, sad music. That's not a good sign. She's not just jumping up and saying, "'Tis but a scratch." I think the game is going to take another person away from us. Dang it, game. Stop introducing us to people and then taking them away a few minutes later. It's sad. You can't leave us, Arya. We've known you for 15 minutes. We care for you. Yes, we will promise. We will restore peace to this world. Oh man. The long pull-out shot with the main character screaming the person's name. Now what's happening? An earthquake. So what's happening is the world is being restored. So all of the areas of the world that were essentially apparently underwater while being frozen are being brought to the surface. So that's good. That means we have a lot more to explore. But that's also a problem because we're inside of a cave. And apparently this crystal was a load-bearing crystal that is now going to cause the cave to collapse. Warriors of Light. Who's this? Who's that person? We have to seek out Doga. And it's hard to see, but it says he is the only one that can help you defeat Zandy. Because they decided to make the text color here, the font color, the same color or roughly the same color as their hat. Okay? So as always, viewers, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this episode, and I will see you all next time as we explore this town, get some new equipment, and talk about the new jobs we got from the water crystal. So long!